The answer to the ending of The Thing always seemed fairly obvious to me, and I think most people are probably looking for it in the wrong place. Give me 5 minutes and I'll explain. There's a rule of thumb I come back to constantly when analysing movies. A film's theme reveals itself in its ending. It's not a scientific law or anything, it's more of a diagnostic tool, but it's a useful one. Because if a character succeeds after changing their approach, the film is validating that approach, right? And if they fail, the film is usually making a statement about why. Sometimes endings reward growth, sometimes they punish it, and sometimes they refuse to give you an answer at all. Ambiguous endings deliberately don't tell us how the world works. They ask us to decide what all of this meant. And that brings us to The Thing. Everyone knows the question that ends the film. Which one of Childs or Macready is the thing? Decades of discussion have been spent dissecting glances, breath vapor, lighting choices, and continuity details to determine who was infected and when. But the uncomfortable truth is that the plot is engineered so the deduction fails. Carpenter inserts a kind of narrative blind spot during the destruction of the camp. In the chaos of the fire and collapse, anything could have happened. And the film never gives us enough information to narrow it down. Logically, there are 4 possibilities. Neither is the thing, one of them is, or both are. And only one of those can be eliminated outright. The thing has no reason to stage a standoff with itself, so at least one of these men has to be human. Beyond that, the film refuses to cooperate. So, what if we reverse engineer the formula? If a film's ending can reveal its theme, then why can't the film's theme shed light on its ending? All we have to know is the theme of the thing. So what is the theme of the thing? Isolation? Paranoia? Invasion? Fear? Hatred? Yes to all of the above, but we can simplify it even further.
I don't know who to trust.
That's it. Trust. The breakdown of trust is the engine that drives the entire story. Every major turn in the narrative hinges on who can be believed, who can't, and what happens when that belief collapses. The thing doesn't just imitate people, it weaponizes mistrust.
I said watch Clark.
It pulls apart the connective tissue of the group, turning cooperation into suspicion, and suspicion into violence. It nearly succeeds in eliminating Macready, but then something interesting happens. During the blood test scene, Macready uses the same weapon in reverse. He turns trust against the creature. Up until this point, the men have splintered while the thing has remained unified, a single organism pretending to be many. But now, the thing is forced to reveal that it no longer can trust its own components to behave as one. The moment that internal trust breaks, the creature loses its advantage. Which brings us back to the ending. If trust is the central theme, what does that imply about those final moments between Macready and Childs?
How will we make it?
Maybe we should.
I don't think either of them are the thing. The thing is dead, but the damage is already done. The erosion of trust cannot be reversed. Even if survival were possible, these 2 men no longer have the ability to work together to achieve it. In my estimation, this is the only ending that fits perfectly with the film's theme. So in a sense, no one is the thing. But also, no one is human. Had you thought along those lines too, or am I just way off the mark? Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe if you feel so inclined, and we'll talk again soon.